Welcome to the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
What are we talking about this week?
It's got to be some movie that came out in 1982.
1982. That's right after an 81, right, Brian?
I think so.
What is it? I'm excited to know.
This one, it released in two cities on one day.
In 1981.
In 1981, yeah.
Neither city that
November
we lived near.
13th, 1981. It was Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Columbia, South Carolina. I don't know the correlation between the two cities or whatnot, but this movie opened then. But then it received it received a wider release in 1982, which is why we're why we watch it now, March 19th, 1982. It's a little later than 40 years, but.
Well,
we
it's
started in we started in May, so we had to go back to catch some of those earlier.
We're filling in
episodes.
some of the other 82 movies.
This is filler, a bunch of filler is what we're getting.
This movie's
right
not filler.
I'm just kidding. It's rated R.
What is this movie called? I don't think we've.
Oh, did I not say the name of it? The name of the movies is
Porky's.
Porky's. That's right. 1982 classic. 1 hour 34 minutes. It was rated R. I did see that it was originally given an X rating.
Why was it given X?
It didn't say why there was an X rating, but there was 2 revisions that was needed. Well, there was a scene of an erect penis.
You know what? I let's talk about that.
Should I get right into that in the first 4 minutes of the podcast?
When that scene at the very beginning when they go to Cherry Forever or whatever her name is.
Do you know who plays Cherry Forever?
Webster's mom.
Yes.
And Webster's dad was also in this.
Mr. and Mrs. Papadopoulos are both in this. That was one of the things.
I have Webster's parents. I know when I saw this movie, I didn't see this in the theater. I probably saw this in the late 80s.
R, and this is a hard R.
There was definitely a lot of wang when I saw this movie. So I think that there must have been some unedited version, and I would bet that's the thing.
I watched it on Prime.
Yeah, I watched it on Prime today, and I looked it up, and Prime said that this was like the theatrical release or whatever it was. So I think I must have seen some kind of uncut version in the
there might have been
late 80s.
Maybe a harder version on like HBO or Cinemax.
Back when I saw it on videotape or whatever, and there were a lot of tallywhackers flapping around. That's for another podcast. I'll talk about that later. So hard R. Yeah, this was
there was definitely a lot of like breasts, a lot of sexual talk,
sure,
a lot of some violence, I guess, but I don't know. Violence really gives you R ratings anymore.
I found it funny that for an R-rated movie, and obviously they were going for an R-rated movie, they said mother a lot, but they didn't follow that up with any other words. It's like, get that mother.
Almost like they were like it trails off, like kind of like
they didn't say the other word, but I was like, why aren't they? Like, what are they holding back for? What, they did the whole Mike Cunt joke and stuff like that.
Mike Cunt joke, it went on for so long. It felt like too. I was like, why is it still going on?
And that's getting you an R-rated right there. So why are they holding back on the mothers?
Is it just that word? Is that what it is?
I don't know. Is motherfucker any worse than any other word?
I think that was a bad word back in the
50s, 1954.
Not just 70s and 80s.
Well, okay,
too.
But this was taking place in 54, so it was much worse back then. Probably.
Oh yeah.
Directed by Bob Clark.
Bob Clark
is also famous for directing Porky's 2.
yeah, that's what he's famous
and
for.
In 1983, A Christmas Story,
which
is a little bit different than these movies.
The way I saw it is that, did I see something or read it that he only agreed to do Christmas Story to do Porky's too, right?
Yeah, that's what
he wanted to do this, and so he said, "I'll do your stupid family friendly movie, but I want to do this movie." This is like his National Lampoon Vacation was based on like all those guys growing up stories and stuff like that.
This stories combined.
This was all based on like his friends and his growing up years and stuff like that. So it was probably more. This is probably autobiographical.
Yeah, Bob Clark.
He said he was Pee-wee. Poor guy. Needle dick. Oh, poor Pee-wee, man.
Pee-wee, he got it from every direction.
He pulled his pants down in front of like 20 guys, and they all just start mocking his penis, man. I wouldn't do that today.
I mean,
as an old man, I wouldn't do that. Well, I guess it makes less sense for me to do it now. I certainly wouldn't do it as an 18-year-old.
We want to talk some of the cast,
for
some of the people. I mean, like most of the kids, Dan Monahan played Pee Wee. You had like Billy and Meat. Those guys,
Almost none of these guys did anything ever again.
They were in like maybe 13,
Meat
15
was,
other credits or something like that. You know,
damn, Meat was in something else.
Meat is the Ken Marino of 1982.
Yeah, but he was in. He was Oh man, I don't want to look it up, but I should remember because as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, he's from.
What, you want to know what something else Meat was in?
Yeah. That sucks.
All right, his name was Tony Ganios. Porky's Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 2. He's the
baker.
He's one of the bad guys in Die Hard 2.
I said the
like
baker.
I remember
like he's working in a bakery.
The baker. Like,
because his name's Baker. I said it's the baker. But I said I'm saying it like he's working in a baker.
A current baker. Yeah, I remember when he was in Die Hard 2, I remember seeing him and being like, hey, it's Meat. That's awesome.
Did you notice him like right away?
When I saw Die Hard 2, I knew he was from Porky's. Logan and Brady had
Why did they call you Meat?
Logan and Brady have a friend, a teammate. He was on the basketball team. He was a year older than our kids. So last year he was a senior and he looked like Meat. And I'm not going to say the kid's name because whatever, doesn't matter what his real name is. But as soon as Michelle and I saw him playing, we're like, hey, it's Meat. And we called him Meat the entire season.
Did he ever tell him? Or
no, we weren't friendly with him. He was a year older. We didn't know his parents or anything like that. But it was like I had a hard time saying hi, blah, blah, blah to him when I shook his hand after a game because I wanted to just call him Meat. And I was afraid he was going to show me his deformity. The girl said you're deformed. And then behind closed doors, she's like, your friend's really deformed.
So like most of those guys weren't really
anybody. None of these guys did.
Then you had
anything.
a young Kim Cattrall as Honeywell.
Yeah, Lassie.
Why do they call her Lassie?
That's what I remember from this movie the most.
Can we talk about that whole Lassie thing right now real quick?
Sure, of course.
You know how
there's no structure. We're just talking about
But
things.
like when after it happens and everything and he gets her upstairs and everything and it happens, right? And then they're talking in the office about it.
Yeah.
And like the way the other teachers are like cracking up. It's like there's so not. There's no professionalism when they were talking whatsoever.
About when Ballbricker was with the principal. Oh, that's when the tallywhacker thing came up. She's like, oh yeah, and he's like, can we please call it tallywhacker? And the coaches and the guys are like dying laughing.
Like, almost like why is this like not serious? Why is this so like?
They had just been spying on girls in the shower, and they thought that was the funniest thing. That's 1954. I guess that's okay back then.
But yeah, you want to tell them why they called her Lassie, Brian?
Because she howled when she was having sex.
But what was the teacher's name who got her up there? He didn't. He said she's a virgin. But she keeps telling me she's a virgin.
She's like, yeah, I'm a virgin. Let's go. What was his name? Tom? Whatever. It doesn't matter what his name was.
It wasn't Meat.
Coach something. Roy. He's like, I'm just Roy.
Yeah.
After he wasn't a coach anymore, I'm just Roy.
It's funny because we watched this and another movie very similar to this after. Back to back. I watched one last night, one today.
I was getting lost between the movies. I feel one really copied the other, which is strange because they were probably made at the same time. Maybe not, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. One probably took longer to film than the other. I don't know. But Brian, do we have any time stamps on these movies? How long it took?
Let me. I don't have my phone on me.
What do you mean by that?
I was just joking. If you knew how long it is, like this production was 6 months and this one was 8 months.
Like how long it actually took?
Filmed over this year.
One of these guys I want to talk about was
all right, yeah, we're still talking about the cast. I just wanted to talk about that.
Mickey Jarvis.
Mickey Jarvis. What did he played?
That's his name. His character name is Mickey Jarvis.
The one that kept getting beat up.
Yes.
Oh yeah. By his dad.
He was the one that his brother was the older cop.
He was getting beat up by Porky.
He was actually the blonde guy that was extremely racist at the very beginning when they were talking about.
We'll talk about that a little bit as well.
So anyway, I just want to read this about Roger Wilson. That's his. And that's the guy
who played Mickey Jarvis.
Yeah, I'm reading this right out of Wikipedia, so it's official, and I have to read it because it's so insane. Like as I'm watching the movie and I'm looking
So you just
who any of these people are.
randomly looking something up.
I'm
and
just like
saw
looking
this?
do I
Okay.
know who these guys are? I don't recognize a lot of them.
So it's
So
not
do
like
they
you
do?
specifically look.
No,
for
I'm
this.
just looking at every guy to see if I know him from anything else. So Roger Wilson, he dated Christy Turlington when she turned 18. But besides that, he later dated Elizabeth Berkley, best known for the TV show Saved by the Bell in the late 1990s. In 2000, Roger Wilson, filed a $40 million lawsuit against fellow actor Leonardo DiCaprio, claiming that DiCaprio encouraged his friends to physically assault Wilson after an argument related to Berkeley. Wilson claimed his larynx was badly damaged. DiCaprio was alleged to have pursued Berkeley whilst she was in a relationship with Wilson, and Wilson confronted DiCaprio over the accusation. So this dude's dating Elizabeth Berkley, Jesse Spano, who's always so excited about everything, and Leo swoops in young Leo, and this guy,
handsome devil,
and
Leo.
Leo had his boys beat this fucker up, break his larynx, and then he sued for $40 million. There's nothing saying how this settled out of court, dismissed, nothing. I have no idea.
Straight out of like Frank Sinatra.
It's so funny though. It's like, I'm sure Leo was a nobody at the time too. He was probably like a growing pains nobody, but
yeah, maybe he had a couple movies under his belt.
it was really funny when I read that today. I'm like, wait a minute, Leo? It was Leo.
Like, wait, my Leo?
You're suing my Leo? No, you better not. So anyway, I saw that, and I didn't want to forget that. I actually just looked it up again because I was like, I know there's a real good story here, but that's it. Roger Wilson, Roger.
Playing Sheriff Wallace was
Is that Alex Karras?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Aforementioned Alex Karras, Mr. Papadopoulos.
Yep. Former
from
NFL
Webster,
player. I think
Blazing Saddles. He played for the Bears.
Bears, right? Yeah. He was. Oh, yeah, right. He was a Mongo in Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. And him and Mrs. Papadopoulos, Susan Clark, they were married in real life as well. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this was their second project that they worked on together. As a matter of fact,
as a couple, they were already married by this point.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
They married, and I thought that was really cool.
They didn't appear on screen at all together, right?
Yeah, Webster's parents.
I mean, in Porky's, they didn't. They weren't.
I don't know. She was in the background. I don't think she would have been
because he only went to Porky's the first time when the boys
and he was there at the end.
But she wasn't there. She was only there, at the Cherries Forever place.
I guess I don't know where.
Susan Clark. I know what she looks like, but I don't remember her.
She was the movie. She was the one where they went to the place and the black guy came smashing through the door with the
that was her.
She was faking the sex. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't recognize her at all.
That was her.
As young Susan Clark. Yeah. She just died recently, I believe.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
And Alex Karras is dead, right?
Alex Karras is dead. Yeah, and Susan Clark passed. Oh no, Susan Clark's still alive.
Susan. You're welcome on the podcast.
Come on, please. Anytime.
Dead or alive?
Yeah,
alive is much better.
Alex Karras died in 2012.
Yeah, did he do anything else really besides Webster? I don't remember really seeing
Alex
him
Karras's top four is Blazing Saddles.
Webster.
Webster is not in there. Porky's.
Wow. Damn. Not in his top four?
Yeah. Victoria.
Oh, good movie. Very funny movie.
Centennial.
I don't even know what that is.
Top four. That's looks like a series from 78 to 79.
Victoria, another 1982 movie.
Are we doing that?
I don't think. I
don't know. Was that on the list?
That might be a movie that's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of issues that we would fumble on if we talked about it.
Really? I think it would make it an interesting.
It's a fun movie. James Gardner and Julie Andrews,
Leslie Ann
Warren, and Alex Karras.
Our favorite actress. That's your favorite actress from Clue, right? Leslie Ann Warren. Then Madeline Kahn's probably your favorite from there, right?
Because she's got the best line. Fire!
It's still funny even now.
It still is funny. I love Madeline Kahn.
I mean, if we needed that as a filler, Victoria, it might be a fun one.
But we don't.
Try,
we got 82 all locked up.
We do have it all locked up. That's right. You're right.
Unless you want to drop into the beginning of 1983.
When's our first Nightmare on Elm Street? Do we get any of that? Not until 83.
Not this year.
3?
Yeah.
When was the first one? 83?
I guess it's that. There's definitely a Nightmare on Elm Street next year. I guess it's the first one.
My cousin wants to be on that.
All right, but we got Friday the 13th this year. We got Halloween. We got
Friday
Creep
the 13th
Show.
's
We
already
got
in the books.
Shep.
Don't tell anybody about that, right? So we still have Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's not a fun one.
I never saw that one.
It's not a bad movie. It's just
It's not what you.
It's
want.
not Halloween.
It's not when you. It's you. The wrapper is incorrect. Like you open that up. It's not Halloween. Isn't what's inside.
I think
If that makes sense.
they didn't want to
Try to make it a cane.
Yeah.
They wanted to make it more of an anthology, not a Michael Myers joint every time, and so that doesn't have Michael
But
Myers in it.
and then they went back to the the well.
Yeah.
There was a line in this movie, I wrote it down just so I didn't forget it, where they are about to go into Porky's at the beginning, I guess it was, when they were like getting ready to get sexed up. And I don't remember what he even said. He's like, we came, we saw, we conquer, or something ridiculous like that. And one of the guys looks at the other guy's like, can you believe this dialogue? It made me laugh. I wrote it down. I was like, you don't write that into a movie. You don't write, can you believe this dialogue, when you are writing the dialogue for this movie. I thought that was so funny. Can you believe, that's like looking at the camera and being like, can you believe
That's
this
like the
plot? Like this
breaking,
plot's
fourth wall
terrible.
or whatever. Can you believe we just said that?
It's so funny how this movie starts with, it opens up with Pee Wee in bed.
Extreme racism opens up.
No. Before that,
Oh, right,
even,
even that,
when
yeah.
Pee Wee's in bed and it's got his massive erection, like breaking, like it's in the bed, and you, it's like almost like the Paramount logo, and it's the mountain, and it's like, no, it's Pee Wee's dick. Speaking of Paramount logo, I noticed that this movie starts off with the 20th Century Fox fanfare. But there is not a 20th Century Fox logo. It's like a.
So they just stole the.
No, I think like 20th Century Fox probably was behind. It was probably one of those like Disney had Touchstone, one of those kinds of things. But It was like the 20th Century Fox owned it, but they were like, we do not want to be associated with this. Yeah, do not put anywhere that 20th Century. But it's the music's playing, and it was other
like
credits.
R-rated movies. Were
Yes, it was Touchstone. Yeah, but it was just so funny how I'm listening to the music. I'm like, because to this day, I can't hear that music and expect to see like a long time ago in a Galaxy Far. But as I'm watching, I'm like, this is not right.
Is it even, when you know the movie is not Star Wars and you hear that, you still like think you're about to see it.
Yeah, I was like,
and then you get there's that little part of you that goes,
this is not Star Wars. Although more and more these days, I'm like, thank God. This
but no, it was the
Star
original
Wars.
Star Wars.
The original Star Wars. But yeah, I thought that was funny that the music was playing and then it never told you it was Star Wars. Or, fuck. Never told you it was 20th Century Fox.
Cut that.
Don't cut that. That just shows that I've been drinking and edibling and other things.
What did you drink today?
Well, I had this.
No?
I'm almost done with this bourbon right here, and I got
yeah.
this beer, but I took half an edible before, so that's what 25
Got
milligrams.
another one on me, I believe.
No, I'll eat the other half in between.
Edible?
No, thank you.
Do somewhere.
He's trying to pretend he's sober. He's drinking Miller Lite. Where's your beer?
I finished it.
Oh, okay.
right
Oh,
there.
wait, here, have this one,
Oh, no, that's all right.
please. I'm offering that to you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll have your wife come pick you up.
Ooh, it's cold.
I didn't read the description or anything of this movie, did I?
Oh, did we just jump right into talking about this?
Because I got excited when I was,
This was
I was talking about
this
the
movie was fun.
how it was released in the two different locations
right.
and everything. So
So what's this movie about?
IMDb description. It's in 1954. Put this in the beginning.
cut, edit, slice.
In 1954, a group of Florida high school guys try to help their buddy lose his virginity, which leads them to seek revenge on a sleazy nightclub owner and his redneck sheriff brother for harassing them.
Harassing. Yeah, that's what this movie's
Some
about.
information here.
That's a
about-
paper thin.
I mentioned Alex Karras and Susan Clark as Mr. and Mrs. Papadopoulos, but I also had Porky, who's played by Chuck Mitchell. He also plays Rocco in Better Off Dead. Do you remember in Better Off Dead, the guy?
Yeah, that guy who owned the
He
restaurant.
owned the
Wow.
restaurant. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. I like that little connection.
and that was a whole Porky's type
It was an
animation
establishment,
there. Yeah.
And then it had the whole hamburger singing Van Halen. Remember?
Porky's is a
Everybody wants a.
Porky's is a generational type of movie. You can see the DNA of Porky's in a lot of movies. Like as you go forward into the 80s.
That was popular. I was like Happy Days was 70s it was in the 70s and 80s, and about the 50s and the
But I don't mean
60s,
like that.
you know,
This was like in the 50s and the 80s. I mean like a lot of movies saw Porky's and were like, "Oh yeah, let's do that.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do that kind of thing."
That's when all those movies like
Yep.
Hot
All
Dog and
that.
Hamburger the movie and stuff like
yeah,
that.
all
They
that kind
started-
of teen sex romp movies. Everybody,
was so easy
Let's
to-
get
it was so
laid.
easy
It's
to
all-
make. Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
was
all
just-
about let's get laid, and that's the only plot
Yeah.
to the movie. And that I think this started it. I mean, Animal House.
There was always
kinda
then
felt
there was
like
always
it,
the
but-
like, let's get this guy laid by a whole bunch, and then he finds the one girl he likes,
Yeah.
but then he ends up being seen with another girl.
Oh my god!
And it's like,
Like,
oh, no,
how
but
many
I like
plots
this
have that?
girl.
Do you think there's like 100 plots like that? There's just like take the script on the left. That's that one. Okay, yeah, and they just like insert people in there. And I'm
They're
hitting the
like,
mic,
you know,
I'm
it's
sorry.
just choose your own adventure.
It is a choose your own adventure, but there's no choose. It's just act 1, act 2, act 3. Yeah, we got it.
We could do one of these and two of these, or one of these and three.
But this
of
kind of
these.
felt like that because as original, I don't want to say original. I'm sure there were movies that were similar to this before, but the first 20 minutes had nothing to do with the plot. That was them going to Cherry Forever's and
Yeah,
running
just
away
having
and the
that
cut.
whole-
Nothing. I mean,
Yeah, because you're like that whole. There's another whole movie.
the
It's
name
like-
of the movie is Porky's, but like, I mean, that was like maybe, except for that one scene where they go there and they get dumped in the swamp. Then there's a whole rest of a movie. And then at the end, they're like, oh yeah, we got to go get Porky.
Luckily, this movie's only an hour and 34 minutes.
Yeah,
so
it was a
doesn't-
perfect
yeah.
length. It didn't feel long. It didn't feel, oh, really? Are we doing this again? No,
Yep.
it didn't feel like that at all. It was fun and quick, in and out,
Yeah.
in and out. And there's a lot of in and out. Well, there actually wasn't a lot of in and out.
Attempted in and out.
A lot attempted. Although Coach Roy and Kim Cattrall did hook up.
Yes, and we got to hear a lot of that one. Was it a jock strap or like a towel that he ended up grabbing out of the
Oh yeah,
hamper,
to
like,
shut her up.
and then but then he put his mouth on it too. It's like he didn't need to like kiss her through the.
And
Jock
I'm sure
strap,
that wasn't a
whatever.
clean jockstrap.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was right out of the hamper right there, so it was definitely not clean.
So yesterday, I don't want to forget to talk about the scene or the scene when I saw the scene. When I
what did he just see?
When I came home from work yesterday, and Michelle was already home, Logan was home with Brady and another one of their friends. I said to Michelle, I walked in. Michelle's like, "What are you guys doing tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh, Porky's." She's like, she kind of giggled. And that was that. And so I'm talking to Logan and Brady and their other friend and blah, 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 blah. And Michelle's like, oh, yeah, come here. And we all come over to the TV and it's the shower scene. And I watched that scene with my son and Brian's son and another guy who I want to say a kid, but they're all 18 years old. They're all adults. So it's
Yeah,
not,
still kids,
but it's
you know,
weird.
yeah,
And like,
it's like-
there was like full bush in this. And like, I'm like, God damn, there's like 5 naked ladies just standing there when they first go in there. And by the way, the intricacy to their plan, like the cinder blocks that were kind of not there and you have to move one out of the way
it
to
was,
get in
like,
there.
so
and the
obvious.
pipes that they had to move, like they all bent out of the way so they could see through the hole and everything.
The
Like that.
giant holes.
Giant holes out of those girls. Well, I guess they were, you know, if they were supposed to be pipes with water going in, with the aiming at their knees or something like that. What's the point of having water going that way?
Yeah.
Because they were real low. The guys were obviously very far down on their hands and knees, so those pipes were for
Bow
no
breaker.
reason.
If the water came out fast enough, like the girls could masturbate to it, I guess.
I want to know, like, who told these guys? Like, was that
Like it was
handed down from
senior
year to year?
tradition kind of thing. Like,
And how come some of the other older guys didn't come back? Like the 22-year-olds, like, what's going on in the shower, guys? It's,
like
see
the
what's
Matthew
happening.
McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey,
They
you're
keep
more than welcome to come
I
on the
keep
podcast.
getting older. They
anytime.
stay the same age, and let's see what's going on in the shower. Yeah, that was a wild scene, man. The guy sticks his dick through the hole, and
Was that
Ballbricker, yeah, Tommy,
Tommy
yep.
sticks his dick through the hole.
and
When Ballbricker has a hold of it, and it's just
Yeah, how does she not rip it off?
or I mean, how big is it that she's got both hands on it through a
that's what I'm saying.
wall?
Is she
I
like
mean,
is she more happy that she's got a huge dick in her hand, or is she
right? Yeah, she's
you know,
like,
is
I
she
got
like-
it. It's mine.
She's like, wow, this is a kid. And like,
But yeah, when you think about that, I mean, I thought about it as I was watching this. I was like, how big is this guy's dick that it's through a wall, which has to be like, 4 or 5 inches maybe, and then
you
there's
didn't
enough
did you watch the end credits? That guy went on to become John Holmes.
I said to Michelle as we were watching the end, I was like, "There's not a post-credit scene, right?" You can't not know anymore. There might be a post-credit scene.
And you think of everything like maybe there was like just a little beep at the end, you know.
So he had his dick through 4 or 5 inches of a wall, and then Ballbreaker had both hands on that thing and was pulling with all their might. Because listen, if my dick was
Ballbreaker was not
able
a small,
to grab maybe the tip and would slip right out of her hand, but she had both hands.
Ballbreaker is not a small woman either. She's got some big hands.
That guy had to have like a 15-inch dick or something like that. They should have been calling him Meat. He was deformed.
Yeah, Meat. That was the last we heard from Meat. He never saw Meat again.
Oh man, but she knew how to identify that thing. There was a mole on there. It's almost like when the whole Michael Jackson thing was going on. That this was.
Oh, remember that? There was like a mark or something, a birthmark or something like that.
They were showing that to the kids and being like, "Can you identify this dick?" The kids were like, "Oh yeah, I recognize that."
That's. I think that's Mike's.
Dad, that looks like yours. Oh no, wait, that's Mike's. Okay, yeah, that one.
Is that one of Mike's? No, that might be one of Mike's friends. Yeah.
Was Tito over the other night? Sorry, Tito. I don't mean that in any way to insult you.
This was the 6th highest grossing film of 1982.
Wow.
So there was 5 movies ahead of it. Do you want to guess those?
I do. Have we podcasted on any of these movies?
Let me pull it up real quick. So why don't you and Brian discuss real quick?
Well, E.T. is definitely on there.
Rocky
3, Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, Poltergeist. Wrath of Khan, do you think?
I have now.
I don't think so. I don't think Star Trek was as popular then as it is now.
Oh, okay.
But it might have been. I mean,
I got our top 132.
Top 132.
Top 132. You want to go down from 10?
Well, I certainly don't want to go from 132. My God, man, it would take.
I'll tell you what. I'll start at 15 because that's Conan. Because it's Conan the Barbarian.
Hey, we did podcast on that.
Because that one was Conan the Barbarian. 14 is Firefox.
I don't know that one.
13 is First Blood, coming up soon on the Exciting and New podcast.
Featuring, do you know Firefox?
Hopefully featuring a special guest for that one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know Firefox. I know
the video game.
Skyfox.
I remember Skyfox.
Mozilla.
Is there an internet thing?
Yeah, the browser.
Yeah, browser. Thank you.
But I remember Skyfox.
You did? Oh, yeah. Skyfox, the game?
Yeah. Annie.
We will not be podcasting
12.
about that.
11 is Chariots of Fire.
We will not be podcasting
Number
about
10
that.
is one we will be doing in the future, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
We will be doing that one.
Number 9, another future one, Poltergeist.
Nice.
Number 8 is one we've already podcasted about, and that is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, and number 8.
Okay.
7 is Arthur.
Oh, I like that movie.
Why aren't we doing Arthur?
Why aren't we doing Arthur?
That was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Why are we doing
was
Arthur?
That early? I guess that was one of the earlier.
Yeah, but we can drop something.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we still have, what's the one that you were just talking about? The Gods Must
Or did
Be
Arthur
Crazy?
come out?
Gods Must Be Crazy
in
is
81.
83.
That's 83. Okay.
Oh yeah, did Arthur come out in 81 and it just like carried over into 82?
Made more
maybe,
money
or something
in
like
82
that?
or something.
Release date says July 17th.
Damn, really? How did I miss that? Because it's one word.
Oh yeah,
Probably looked right past it. I'll have to read.
You thought it was a cartoon, Arthur.
I'll have to relook at our schedule. Something's getting dropped.
Yeah, 6 is Porky's.
Okay.
5 is An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah, we're not podcasting about that.
4 is On Golden Pond.
Nor are we podcasting about that.
3 is one we podcasted on, Rocky 3.
Nice.
2 is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wait a minute.
That's got to be a carryover.
81,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And E.T. is number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So Porky's got beat by Raiders and E.T.
Rocky 3.
And Rocky 3.
On Golden Pond and An Officer and a Gentleman.
So 2 Oscar movies and like 3 of the best movies of all time. Well, all right. Rocky 3 is not the best movie of all time. It's still like.
Just Porky's being in the top 10 is just,
That's
I just think
crazy.
It says here, Porky's made, are you kidding me? $105 million
On a what, like a $3 million budget or something like that?
I read the
that
budget
movie
for this
cost
movie
nothing.
was $2.5 million for this.
I was close. It felt like a $3 million
Yeah,
in
so you were
1982.
right there.
I can adjust for inflation and stuff like that. I can figure these things out. I mean, it wasn't like they were paying any even, some of those movies would get like that 1 star to be in it to kind of put on the poster, but I don't think that was Kim Cattrall. I don't think there was anybody.
No, she definitely wasn't famous.
No, I don't think anybody was driving people to the box office for this. It was just the word of mouth.
Name-wise, I mean, even like
come see boobies.
Alex Karras, Susan Clark, none of that was bringing anybody in.
None of them were bringing people in.
The guy playing Pee-wee, none of that was...
Maybe Leonardo DiCaprio was renting out theaters and having people watch it and being like, that's the fucking guy. Kill that fucking guy.
Tron was 26th. Blade Runner 29th.
29th?
Yeah.
We're such a stupid society. That Blade Runner's
35th, The
29.
Wall. 38th, Creep Show. Wow, The Thing, 43rd. Nobody wanted to see these movies. I mean, 52 is Zapped. Coming soon.
That feels right.
I was thinking 152 out of 132.
One of the things about Porky's that I was shocked by was the racism at the beginning when they were discussing.
There was a lot of racism.
They were hiring the black guy to break into the place to scare them. And the one kid was very graphic with his
and he was like overly.
They even were like,
"Yeah,
dude,
calm down, dude. We get what you're trying to say here."
In 1954 Florida, I expect racism. Even those kids were shocked by the racism.
Come on,
they were like, dude.
They're like, that's enough.
And the anti-Semitism, I remember that. I remember when I saw this originally that there was a Jewish guy that people had a problem with, and it was the one guy. Now, do you know who that Jewish guy was?
Jackie Mason.
It was not Jackie Mason, but it's funny you should say Jackie Mason because he was in a movie not with Jackie Mason. Jackie Mason was in the sequel.
Yeah, so that is D'Annunzio.
D'Annunzio from Caddyshack. Yes,
I thought he looked like him.
He was the tough guy caddy in Caddyshack, the one that smoked on the golf course and stuff like that. That was D'Annunzio. Brian Schwartz. Brian Schwartz was D'Annunzio. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I know who this guy is. That's what I was saying before. I'm like, there was a guy in here. As soon as he appeared, I'm like, oh, I know who this guy is. And it was D'Annunzio.
And you were watching it on Prime, so you got to see his name. And
I didn't do that because you have to pause it and stuff like that.
No, you just pull it up.
Yeah, I know, but
I love that feature.
Oh, it's a great feature. It's a great feature because Michelle and I, as we were watching this, Michelle watched both movies with me today, by the way, because these are movies that Michelle likes.
This is Michelle's wheelhouse.
Both of these movies today got a thumbs up. Oh, we might be doing another movie later, but it's not coming out for another week. So it's not coming out right tonight.
Did Michelle give you a score? Can you text her and ask her for a score?
No, but we should probably have Michelle come down and just like say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, give us she even had a problem with the 0 to 100. Remember, she said something about that.
She's a terrible person. Like, you know what? I don't even want her down here because just stand here with her mouth hanging open and be like, what do you want me to do? Be like, fucking why are you saying a number? Just say a number.
Text her what her score is for both. We'll get her scores for both of
these. I will do that right now while you fill in the time.
Yeah, and I do want to say on the Jewish racism, when the guy was making fun of D'Annunzio's nose, it was just like, my nose is bigger than
he had a tiny he didn't even have any
small nose.
He didn't even have like an Italian Roman nose.
It was like a little tiny
nose.
He has a little button nose.
He said that too. He's like, your big nose. I'm like, what big nose? You got a bigger nose than him, buddy.
Like maybe we're looking at it at a different angle.
And all I could think was that this guy's Italian.
I don't even know if he's Italian. He might be Jewish. I mean, you know, I don't know what his real name is. I just know that he played an Italian in Caddyshack. Well,
they're both swarthy people.
I assume D'Annunzio is Italian, and he was Jewish.
If not, that's a weird name to be going with. To be
as Tony Soprano once said, the only thing that separates the Italians from the Jews is the cooking. So, I guess if you're one, you could play the other very easily.
You know, it was 132nd.
The 100 out of
132 movies, I guess, for the year.
Oh my God! Give me a hint.
It's an animated.
Oh fuck! I don't know that.
Yeah, it's Bugs Bunny third movie, 1001 Rabbit Tales.
Oh, I remember that.
That was on the list of things to podcast, and I was like, "How do we talk about a Bugs Bunny cartoon for like an hour? That sounds stupid." I mean, but I love Bugs Bunny, but
the thing is, we probably could talk about more than an hour, probably.
I just thought it sounded nothing that we could.
This seems rightfully so. The 129 Gandhi and 128 Sophie's Choice.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. Those movies were gigantic movies. They must have been out a year before, and that's box office that
no, because I think Gandhi was a choice.
Gandhi's one was one of Sophie's Choice.
Wait, what?
Sis.
Say that again. How high are you?
No,
Or maybe they came out in
Gandhi was-
December.
Gandhi's
Oh,
an
yes. They were both
Gandhi's
December
an October
movies.
movie because I think it was around because you were like, no, we're not doing fucking Gandhi.
Well, I definitely said we're not
or it
doing
could have
fucking
been a Gandhi,
Gandhi
movie.
I think
Christmas
I
could have
think
been,
they
yeah.
might be like December movies that they made all their box office in.
Yeah, so if they
83.
came out in Christmas,
And those
then-
were both, I mean, Gandhi,
yeah,
I think,
then
won
it's-
Best Picture.
Yeah.
And Ben Kingsley definitely won Best Actor. And
Yeah, I
Meryl
believe
Streep
so.
probably won Best
She won
Actress.
every year. She won.
She has
something
actually not won
in
every year
the-
because
in
she's
the
been
80s.
nominated every
Yeah,
year.
In the 80s, she won a lot.
She's been
every year.
acting for 50 years and she's been nominated 50 times.
damn.
But she's only won like 8. It's like,
But she's always,
why
yeah,
bother,
she's
man?
always like, she's always in the
She's always in the
discussion,
running?
right? Yeah.
I think now they just like, just put her in. Oh, shit. She's in another movie.
But what?
God damn it. That,
I
that
mean,
just
is
shows
that
you,
cool? It's good to be nominated, I guess, right? But I mean, as long as she's won a few.
but that
at
just
least,
shows
right?
you how it's not science, but it's not how pointless it is.
Science,
Because
bitch.
Now they put her in it and they're like, well, she's not going to win because she's already won. So they're, why bother
But then
putting
it's
her
like,
in? But-
Meryl's in here. She's going to take votes from me.
yeah, but
You know what I mean? They coulda went to
when
somebody
they
that
nominate
would've
Meryl
deserved
Streep,
it.
you're like, oh, well, good. Because she's definitely not winning because not going to give it to her again. So she's taking votes away from other people, or it's like, why bother?
Or it's like because she hasn't won, and she's nominated so many times. They're like, we gotta fucking give it to her. This is the charity one, and they always win for the movie that like is not worthy. And it's like 6 years earlier was the movie
Like
that they
Henry
should've
Fonda
it
won for On Golden Pond, and he was like on his deathbed, never had won before. They're like, oh, give it to him, and he's
He's
like,
on his deathbed.
thank you, dead. Porky's.
I only remember The Devil Wears Prada for Meryl Streep.
That's like the only thing you know her from.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Deer Hunter.
Kramer
I,
versus
I
Kramer.
don't think I saw Deer Hunter. I never saw Kramer
Oh,
versus
there's a
Kramer.
Sophie's
great
Choice?
movies.
Sophie's Choice I never saw.
Wow.
I know the movies. I know what they're about.
No,
but I
there's
never
something
watched
else you
them.
saw Meryl Streep in. I'm positive there's something else you saw her in.
When they pull up her top 4.
What was the movie she did with Bruce Willis and
Oh, and her head gets turned around.
yeah, and
I did
Goldie
see that.
Hawn.
Yeah,
Death Becomes Her.
yeah.
Funny
Okay.
movie.
I
She
saw
was in
that one.
Okay. I knew there was something else. I fucking knew it.
Out of Africa.
I never saw that one.
Yeah. Oh, I actually think I might have. That's.
August Osage County. Sounds like something you
Oh,
would
I didn't
watch,
see
doesn't
that
it?
one. Out of Africa.
After he
I
watched
actually think I
Downton
saw
Abbey,
one.
he watched Orange Osage County. Like, oh my God. It's a bunch of titles that don't make
She's
any
only
sense.
been in 95 things.
No, she's choosy.
Pathetic.
She only does things that she knows she's
That's
getting nominated.
pathetic.
She's probably been nominated 95 times. She
And
chooses
she's
wisely.
nominated 95 times, won 103 times.
Wow.
She's been in 95 things. Samuel L. Jackson's been in 1,095.
He's been in 95 things this past month.
Michelle was watching 3 movies up there, back to back to back, like just flipping back
And
forth.
non like Marvel, like,
Well, one of them was Marvel.
but I mean, it wasn't like 3 Marvel.
No,
movies.
one of them it was Avengers with Samuel L. Jackson. It was Kong Skull Island with Samuel L. Jackson, and it was the Attack of the Clones with
Okay,
Samuel L.
yeah.
Jackson. So it was 3 different franchises. Sam Jackson in all 3. As she's every once in a while, I'd walk through, and I'm like,
Manhattan,
What's
she
he
was
doing?
in.
Manhattan, Woody Allen, Manhattan,
Yeah.
Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that one.
Jeez, I thought
That was
it
an
too. I don't
HBO
remember her
movie.
being in that.
Out of Africa, I mentioned, right?
Bum, 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 bum.
You said you saw Out of Africa, you think?
I think I saw that.
He thinks he heard the song.
Oh, remember that She Devil
Yes.
with Roseanne?
Oh, She Devil. I did see
I
that
never saw
one,
it, but
yeah.
I remember hearing about it.
Postcards from the Edge,
Written by Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher's biography.
The River
I think.
Wild
Really?
with Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah, that's like a action adventure movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where he like
He's like the
stalks
bad guy,
family
yeah.
or whatever, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm doing a whole Meryl
That's
Streep
fine.
deep dive here. You know, she was in an episode of King of the Hill.
I did not know that.
Aunt
When
Esme, daughter Eve.
when the Pee Wee gang destroys Porky's and they're driving away, and Alex Karras's deputies drive the one car into the pond, and then the other car the wheels fall off. Right before that, when they're rallying to get going, when the guys go flying by them in their car or in the
Pickup or the
tow truck,
yeah.
Alex Karras yells, "Grab anything that kills." It was the best.
I remember
It was
that.
the best line of the movie. Grab anything that kills.
quoted a movie right there.
Oh my God, it was so funny. As soon as he said it, I paused it because I knew I was going to be laughing for 30 seconds afterwards.
I just think it's great that Michelle watched both movies with you.
These are both movies that
Did she
Michelle
give
and
you
I
her,
have talked about.
score?
She has not. Fuck her. I have to go up there and wake her up or something like that. She ate an edible.
You give her half an edible.
She had half a glass of wine and an edible. She'll be unconscious for the next 47 hours.
If only she had half a glass of wine during Grease 2.
This was her. Grease 2 is what? Half a bottle of wine? Maybe a full bottle of wine. Yeah, she's a mess. Did you ever see Days of Wine and Roses with Jack Lemmon? Like he was the alcoholic and he brought his wife.
Who was
down.
his wife in it?
I don't know.
I remember
That's
that
an
movie.
old-
Though.
I
Yeah.
love Jack Lemmon, but I never saw
it's
that
a black
one.
and white movie. Jack Lemmon's like it was probably like from the 40s or something like that. But Jack Lemmon's an alcoholic, and he drags his wife into his alcoholism to the point where like he finally sobers up, and she is on a downward
she's worse.
spiral.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, "That's me and Michelle." I'm like, I brought her down with me, and she keeps falling farther and farther down.
And you're like, oh.
I mean, I am
You're like, no.
obviously an alcoholic. As
But
I
you're
have
like
two
that.
empty drinks in front of me right now, and I'm scratching my chest, going like, "When's my next drink coming?" But I can handle it better. That's what I'm saying, I guess.
You've been drinking longer.
Do you think are we in the time for scores for this one yet, or no? I don't want to. I don't know if we talked long enough or if we need more time.
We should probably talk a little bit longer.
I can talk about this movie.
Feel free.
I thought this
to.
movie was
I gave my notes, so that's why I was.
Yeah, I went over most of my notes.
Let me pull up some mental notes.
Yeah, go for it. What do you got?
Oh, the end. One of the things that really stuck in my head was tying a knot in a condom.
Well, I think that was a joke, right? I mean,
Yes, but I remember when he came out and said it was too big, I was just like, oh my God, I remember this.
I thought it was very funny at the beginning with the stupid egg joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
throw this one.
I guess that was practical jokes in the 50s. Like, how dumb was that? And how dumb was me just to like lean into him? Like, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that? And smash.
the overacting is so. It's
Well,
so.
I think none of these people were
I know,
actors,
but that's why I think it's like funny. Like you said, like, hey, what's that egg gonna do?
I also remember during the basketball. It's funny that we saw movies that involved sports both times. I'll talk about the other sport later, but
you mean next week on the Exciting New Podcast?
It's awesome how in a 1950s Florida high school, like short ass white boys like Pee Wee are on the basketball team. I was like, this must be the worst basketball team in the county. And the cheerleaders or whatever
They were taller.
Kim Cattrall is teaching with her mini skirt and panties are just warming up, bending over. They're always bent over while these guys are trying to lay up ball. I'm like, yeah, I'm not making this
No
shot.
wonder they're not making shots. No wonder they're not practicing. No wonder they're not focusing.
But that team looked terrible. Like, the fact that the guys that you're following around are the starting basketball team, they won no games. I guarantee they didn't win a game because they were terrible.
Or they won the championship. That shows you how bad the other leagues, the other.
They didn't
schools
show
were.
us any basketball games, so that was not important.
Yeah, that wasn't
plot,
part of the.
so
Yeah, that wasn't like Teen Wolf.
They didn't say, "Oh, we got to like
At least you
gotta
get a lot of
make it to the
you get a lot of
championship."
basketball in Teen Wolf.
Oh, Teen Wolf.
I can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun.
What year is that?
85, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
I was listening to the. I don't want to promote another podcast
Go
on
ahead,
here, but
promote
I
them.
was
Maybe
listening, I was
they'll
listening
promote
to
us one
the Smartless podcast the other day with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett, and they had God damn it, man! Oh, was it Conan? They had someone on there. It doesn't Conan or Conan, and he was saying how Teen Wolf's one of his favorite movies.
Who said this? Jason Bateman?
No, the guest said Teen Wolf's one of my favorite movies, and Will Arnett's like, you mean Teen Wolf 2? Because they were complimenting each other. They're saying like, oh my God, I love you in this, and Will Arnett, oh, I love you in this, and Sean, and oh, I love Teen Wolf. You mean Teen Wolf 2? And the guy goes, oh, I never saw that one. It was just funny because Jason Bateman's like, yeah, don't see that one. But Jason Bateman, of course, was not in the first one.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh, that's all they do on that. Is just rip on each other. It's fun.
And they will never promote us.
No, of course not. It was funny that
I didn't know which podcast he was going to say.
He brought up the most popular podcast.
You brought
in the
up
world.
Teen Wolf, and it was just like, oh my god! It was
I thought it was going to be like his bald move.
Yeah,
or
cut
pop
that out.
culture leftover.
Cut that out. Cut all the fucking promotion of another podcast out.
Especially for them.
Yeah, they don't need it. And fuck them anyway. I hate all of that.
That story wasn't even funny.
It wasn't even funny. Fuck it. I'm glad. I regret saying it. Cut it out.
I'll cut it out.
Fucking cut it out. Cut. I'm gonna keep hitting the mic.
Mike,
fucking really
Hunt.
cut it out.
Mike Hunt.
You really cut it out.
I promise to cut it out,
All right, thank you.
but I'm not going to.
You better, man. You cut out his fucking birthday shit or whatever the fuck in the
Birthday.
Grease 2 one.
Yeah.
No, I only cut out one little section.
Oh,
Yeah, I asked for like 4 seconds of somebody saying, "Yeah, I'm bored."
Yeah, not only that, like normally when I edit, I'll edit you guys. There might be a couple sections where there's a 3 minute or 3 second or 4 second gap. There were like 30 or 40 gaps, but I had to shorten them all.
Yeah. See, we don't allow that.
We're
to
pros.
happen.
We know
Yeah.
what's going on here.
And of course I was, as I'm editing, I'm
Unless
yelling at
Andy's
Christine.
trying to make me hang out there all by myself.
But that's the only time I do it. When you have said something, I'm like, he's got to suffer for this. He's got to pay the price. And
I'm
like,
looking and like you can see in my eyes. I'm like so scared. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
yeah, there's no dead air when we're talking. That's it. Oof, terrible. So yeah, cut all that up, please.
I will.
Cut that.
Cut.
Oh man.
But
So we're talking. Oh yeah, Porky's.
Yeah, Porky's.
And this was
we'll be doing Porky's the sequel.
the next day will be next year. Yeah. This movie
Hopefully
must have made.
Hopefully this still be
Well,
streaming.
you said
on
how much
HBO
did this
Max
make?
at the
150
time.
million? 105 million.
105 million. On a
2.5
million budget.
God
Yeah.
damn.
And Porky's is a trilogy, right?
Yeah, I never saw the third one, which was Porky's Revenge.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I don't know if I saw the third
I have.
one either.
When I was watching this movie, I know Porky's 2 better. Like I kept waiting for specific things to happen. I'm like, wait, when's the scene with the blah blah blah? And it didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, that must be
Are
Porky's
you gonna watch that
2.
tomorrow?
Well, no, because I'll wait for next year when we do Porky's 2 the next day. But I am looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
because I really like
that'd
that one
be
a
it.
lot. I
That's the one you remember more.
nah. I mean, I remember a lot of this, but
Well, I mean, would you say you remember that one more because you like it more? Probably.
I
right?
like this one a lot too. Porky's holds a special place in my heart because
I'm curious what the score's
well.
going to be now.
Listen,
It's
a weighted
going to be
scale.
100% score, but I'm just curious to see where you're going with your score, and that's my segue into getting to scores. So why don't you kick us off?
Man, I wonder
Andy?
what this movie must have been just. The critics must have just hated this movie. There is nothing about this movie that a critic would be
Rotten
like,
Tomatoes,
"Oh, this is good directing, good acting, good score, good." It was just a. But for what it was,
I can't see Siskel or Ebert giving this one.
I wonder what they did. I wonder really what they said about that. We should add a segment to this where
we should look up Siskel and Ebert reviews and just
this movie was
maybe I could do that.
revolting.
I should do just to see what maybe a paragraph or like a little blurb of each one. Maybe I'll add that to the. Remind me to add that to future
Going
episodes.
forward, what Siskel and Ebert said about
next
this?
week's episode because
yeah, but I like this movie. I mean, listen, I'm going to give it a 70 because it's obviously not a great movie, but for what it is, I laughed lots of times. I probably shouldn't have laughed at all, but I laughed a lot of times. I am currently not, but was when this came out, the perfect age for this movie. I was 12 when it came out. I didn't see it when I was 12, but I bet I watched it when I was 15.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect age to watch this movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it still holds a lot of. I would watch this again right now. Like if you wanted to say, let's go watch Porky's, I am in to watch this movie.
circle
again.
jerk and watch
funny.
Porky's. Let's do it.
Well, we don't have to do the circle jerk. Well, we can
could
do that. We can just do that.
We could just do the circle jerk.
So 70 on.
I got you. 70 is now
it's
in.
marked down. Damn.
That's marked in. He's in.
And that's exactly my score too.
70 for Brian as well.
Yeah.
Felt like
How
a
about
70. I'm so excited to hear what Rotten Tomatoes is. But please, Jason,
how about
what's
let me
your
throw my score out there?
Yes, please.
My score is very similar
If
to you.
yours is 70 also.
It's not
then-
70, but I tried to be a little more childish with mine, so I went with 69%. Since it was a sex comedy.
Man,
I meant to do the
that's such a
applause.
But the laugh
laughter worked.
The laugh
too, yeah.
worked.
So I went with 69. I agree with you. It's got a lot of like parts where like it shouldn't be funny. There's a lot of stuff that's illegal now, and it was illegal then too. But some of it
No one
wasn't,
cared.
So yeah, yeah, it was fun. It's definitely a rewatchable movie. I definitely would recommend it to like somebody that's never seen it before. Yeah, give it a shot if you're in the mood for something silly and stupid. And
if
you're not gonna,
if you
you're not
think you've
gonna be
seen
like
all this stuff before, this is where it
came
happened
from,
the first
yeah.
time.
This and Animal House. Yeah,
Yeah. Like when you watched American Pie, this is American Pie just
Yep.
10 years earlier. Or earlier than
This
that, maybe 15
American
years
or
earlier.
what's this? What's the saying? They
18.
walked so they could run or run.
They crawled so they could walk?
Yeah,
They, I
whatever
don't know
it
that
is.
saying.
You know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah,
Something
maybe.
along the lines.
Does that like, have to do with evolution?
Yeah, I mean, you don't believe in evolution. So-
But Jesus told them this is what happens. You walk first and then you crawl or something like that.
I saw it on the back of a car or something.
You stole my Jesus fish. All right, so Rotten Tomatoes, you're interested in their scores, huh? So I'm going to give you the audience score first.
Yeah.
Audience gave it a 57%.
Oh, really? That low, huh?
57% for the audience. Yeah.
And that like, how did they do that though? Is that from the time or is that from now?
It's got to be now. I mean, they're not.
So I can see millennials and Gen Zers being like, "Whoa!"
I saw.
This is just
boobies,
based on
I'm
like
offended.
this is just based on like if I go out there and I put in my 69%, you went out there and put on your 70. It's just
Right,
it's-
but
it's
what
just
Brian's
an
saying
average
is like,
of that.
are there a bunch
what
of
people are
like,
going to go out there and put in there
a
now?
bunch of like,
I give it a 0 because it is. Yeah,
this
because
is
I'm
offensive to me.
I am this, and you can't say this about me.
It's
And blah,
exactly
blah,
the
blah.
problem with these scores because it's a bunch of shitheads doing it.
Yep. You need to be verified. You need to. Everything should have your name behind it. If you're voting or something like that,
Everybody, you should be able to stand behind anything you do. You put it out there, someone should be able to knock on your door and be like, "Hey, you gave Porky's a 42? Explain yourself,
yeah,
motherfucker."
I'm gonna need.
That's
you.
why everyone knows our last names.
They're gonna be like, "Why don't you
I don't care. I put my last name out there.
have a seat? We need to talk to you about Porky."
Have a seat. Have a seat.
So the critic score was
Oh, so if the audience is 55,
57%.
57, the
Yeah.
critics are like 30.
I'm going to go 20.
34%
Oh, wow.
for the critics. Yeah. Or critics.
Yeah, critics don't like this kind of movie.
I think any kind of comedy is difficult to get a high score from critics.
Unless it's like one of those kinds of like Groundhog Day, Animal
Almost
House,
where it's like,
a generational type
It's like
of
all
hangover.
kinda like like it's not the norm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a change in like the like when music styles change, like when you went like metal and like or hair metal went to like grunge
Right.
and then like cookie
There's that
cutter all
generational
that. Yeah.
kind of something happened.
Yeah.
I feel this is kind of like one of those movies, though. I don't know what before this was the Porky's before Porky's. There are a ton of movies that came out after this that are, well, obviously this got inspiration from
Yeah.
Porky's, whether it's
But
Hot
there's-
Dog the movie
but
or
there's still
Zapped
movies-
or like any of those kinds of
Still
movies that were
movies
just,
today that are doing it. Like, wasn't there like a cock blockers
Yeah.
or something like that kind of movie? Those kind of movies are all inspired by these kind of movies. I think just telling a different variation of a story like that. You still see the coming of age,
the
teen
teen
losing
trying to
their
get
virginity.
laid movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like that is a well-worn story, but I don't know anything that did it before Porky's. I mean, I guess you could say like American Graffiti, right? Kind of probably did that too, but like
Probably, yeah, it might be one of the first ones. Right?
were all those Annette Funicello movies, Beach Blanket Bingo, were they all Porky's before Porky's? I never saw any of those.
I mean, it was just like
they were all having fun on
you
the
just
beach.
talked about like
There's
like,
no drugs.
they're
and-
just
no
making
drugs,
out-
no sex,
sex,
no
just
yeah.
boobies,
making out
yeah.
and like dancing.
yeah.
So
It was the G version of Porky's back then. So I guess they kind of
that's what they could get away with, kind of like
Yeah,
it was
sure,
like,
sure.
So, but yeah, I think overall this was a fun watch. I think we would all
Oh yeah, good one. I'm actually looking forward to Porky's 2 next year. Like,
Yeah.
the next day next year.
You guys want to get together and talk about that one next year sometime?
If we are all still alive in 2023, we shall talk about Porky's 2 the next day.
I hope I'm still alive.
I do too.
You know what? Every day that I wake up, I feel less guaranteed that I'll be alive in 2023. I'm like, oh my God, this is the last day I'm living.
Wait,
I
don't think I
pray.
ever felt that before.
My dad is 85 years old, and I'm like, there's no chance I make it there.
I don't think I'm going to hit 85.
My God, like I don't think I'm making 65, and that's not that long. That's 13 years from now. That is a fuck. That was going to be really,
that would have been perfect.
If I had had a good snap. That
Can
would
you
have been really
edit
good.
in the snap there?
That would have been really good if I had
Just
said,
get-
I'm
I was
not
gonna say, if we could
making
get, like-
65.
I can't snap with that finger.
If we can get John Aston snap from the John Aston
yeah.
snapping, that would be perfect.
I can snap with both fingers
I can't snap.
with your right hand.
Can you do it-
and you're
can you do it-
right-handed?
Yeah.
What about this?
How
one?
is that possible?
like,
Stooges.
okay, this one's got a nice snap.
But you should be able to snap with your writing hand. That's a like
Wait, you can't. You right-handed and you can't do that one. You can.
I can't snap.
that does not make any sense. That's
I don't
crazy.
know. There's like you might have like
What?
there might
Do you
be
do
like,
anything with your left hand? Like, do you like?
there might be something off with your like. So that's your right hand. Something wrong on the left side of his brain that's like not allowing his hand to snap correctly.
That's true.
His
There's definitely
prostate
something wrong
controlled
with
his
my
right
brain.
hand, and now it doesn't work as well.
Now I just have to mash everything with my fists.
That's why his right hand doesn't get the work out it used to.
Coming up next week, what do we have, Andy? on
Oh,
the
we have
podcast?
the Scott Baio, Willie Ames
Vehicle?
vehicle with Heather Thomas and
Heather Thomas and Robert Mandan.
Robert Mandan, and I forget the other girl's name. That's the other
Bernadette.
star- whatever Bernadette is.
Felice.
Feliz Navidad, yes.
Felice
Zap,
something,
1982
yeah.
sex comedy romp. I guess we're in July. We're in the summer. I guess we are in the midst of a sex comedy
yeah.
summer romp
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. It feels right. It feels right to talk
It's the
about
summer of
teen
George.
sex
Summer
in the
of
summer.
George.
It's the summer of George. It's a summer of teen sex romps. And as I was looking at the schedule for 1983, that'll have a summer of teen
You were a
sex
preteen.
romps also.
Yeah, and you were a
Well,
preteen.
I was a preteen. Well, I was 13 in 83.
Well, no, in
so that's
82.
teen.
That's
In
what I
82,
said,
I
we're
was
82, you were
I was
preteen,
preteen.
yeah.
But when I was
You're
looking at
preteen.
83, there's also like 5 movies in a row that are teen sex romps. And I think Porky's is to blame for all of that. Or to,
Do you know them off the top of your head?
I think Nerds is one of them.
Nerds. Porky's 2 is probably
Porky's
one of them.
2 is one of them. Hot Dog the movie is one of them.
Nice.
Actually, Hot Dog the movie came out in like January, but we're deferring
We're going
that
to
to
push
the
it into
summer.
the summer movie.
And there's one other one, man.
What, Ski
Whatever.
Resort. Remember
We'll get
Ski
there.
Resort?
Yeah.
Ski School. Ski Resort. Yeah.
Those were the movies that I watched before I go skiing.
Oh,
back
those
in
are
the
so fun.
All right, so
um,
Porky's. I was going to say
next
Porky's.
next week we have Zapped, so we're looking forward to the Scott Baio, Willie Ames vehicle. This has been the Exciting and New podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy. I hear music. I didn't know we were doing music.
Oh, I have the
You said
ending.
you had the outro.
Oh, I got thrown off. I'm sorry. Should I have not said something?
No, it's all right, but it's in there now. It's fine.
And I'm Brian.
Oh, yeah, Brian. He's Brian.
And Exciting and New podcast on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74 on Twitter.
Hey, Gonzo 1.
Papa Bad Kitty.